Chapter 1. A New Day. My name is Anna. I am 20 years old. I live in a small town called Green Valley. Green Valley is a quiet place. There are many trees, a river, and a big park. I love my town because it is peaceful. Every morning, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I brush my teeth, wash my face, and get dressed. Then I go to the kitchen. My mother is there. She makes breakfast for me. Today we have bread, eggs, and tea. I eat breakfast with my mother. We talk about the weather. It is sunny today. After breakfast, I go to work. I work in a small cafe. The cafe is called Sunny Days. I like my job because I meet many people. I serve coffee, tea, and cakes. My boss is kind. Her name is Mrs. Brown. She teaches me many things. Chapter 2. A Strange Customer. At 10 o'clock, the cafe opens. I put on my apron and stand behind the counter. The first customer is an old man. He orders a cup of coffee. I give him the coffee, and he smiles at me. "Thank you," he says. I feel happy. At 11 o'clock, a strange man comes into the cafe. He wears a black coat and a big hat. He sits at a table near the window. I go to him and ask, "What would you like to order?" He looks at me and says, "I want a cup of tea and a piece of chocolate cake." His voice is deep and quiet. I bring him the tea and cake. He eats slowly and looks out the window. I feel curious. Who is this man? Why is he here? I want to ask him, but I am shy. Chapter 3. The Secret Letter. At 12 o'clock, the man leaves the cafe, but he forgets something on the table. It is a small envelope. I pick it up and look at it. The envelope is white, and it has no name. I open it carefully. Inside, there is a letter. The letter says, "Meet me at the old bridge at 8 o'clock tonight. Bring the key." I feel nervous. What does this mean? Who is the letter for? I don't know what to do. I show the letter to Mrs. Brown. She reads it and says, "This is strange. Maybe you should take it to the police." I think about it. Should I go to the police? Or should I go to the old bridge? I feel scared, but I also feel curious. I decide to go to the bridge. Chapter 4. The Old Bridge. At 7:30, I leave my house. The old bridge is far from my house. I walk for 20 minutes. The sky is dark, and the streets are quiet. I feel scared, but I keep walking. When I arrive at the bridge, I see the strange man. He stands under a streetlight. He looks at me and says, "You have the letter." I nod and give him the envelope. He smiles and says, "Thank you. You are brave." I ask him, "What is this about? Why did you leave the letters?" He looks around and says, "I cannot tell you now, but I need your help. Can you meet me tomorrow at the park?" I don't know what to say. The man seems kind, but I am still scared. Finally, I say, "Okay, I will meet you." Chapter 5. The Park Meeting. The next day, I go to the park at 10 o'clock. The man is there. He sits on a bench near the fountain. I sit next to him. He says, "My name is Mr. Smith. I am a detective. I am looking for a stolen treasure." I feel surprised. "A stolen treasure?" I ask. He nods and says yes. "A long time ago, a thief stole a valuable necklace. The necklace is hidden somewhere in Green Valley. I need your help to find it." I feel excited, but also nervous. "Why do you need my help?" I ask. He says, "Because you know this town well. You can help me find clues." I think about it. I want to help, but I am not sure. Finally, I say, "Okay, I will help you." Chapter 6. The First Clue. Mr. Smith gives me a map. The map shows Green Valley. There is a red circle on the map. Mr. Smith says, "This is where we start. Go to this place and look for something unusual." I look at the map. The red circle is near the river. I go there and look around. I see a big tree with a hole in it. I look inside the hole and find a small box. I open the box. Inside, there is a piece of paper. The paper says, "Look for the clock that doesn't tell time." I feel confused. What does this mean? I take the paper to Mr. Smith. He reads it and says, "Good job. This is the first clue. Now we need to find the clock that doesn't tell time." Chapter 7. The Clock Tower. We think about the clue. Mr. Smith says, "Maybe it is the old clock tower in the town square." We go to the clock tower. The clock is broken. It doesn't tell time. I feel excited. This must be it, I say. We look around the clock tower. I see a small door under the clock. I open the door and find another box. Inside the box, there is another clue. The clue says, "Find the place where water meets stone." Mr. Smith smiles and says, "This is getting interesting. Let's go to the river." Chapter 8. The River. We go to the river. The river is long and wide. We walk along the riverbank. I see a place where the water flows over some rocks. This must be it, I say. We look around the rocks. I see a small cave. Inside the cave, there is another box. I open the box. Inside, there is a key. The key is old and rusty. Mr. Smith says, "This is the key we need. Now, we must find the lock." Chapter 9. The Final Clue. We go back to the map. Mr. Smith says, "The final clue must be near the old church." We go to the old church. The church is big and beautiful. We look around the church. I see a small door at the back. The door has a lock. I try the key in the lock. It fits. I open the door. Inside, there is a small room. In the room, there is a box. I open the box. Inside, there is a beautiful necklace. The necklace is gold and has a big blue stone. Mr. Smith smiles and says, "You found it. This is the stolen treasure. Thank you for your help." Chapter 10. The End of the Adventure. We take the necklace to the police. The police are happy. They say, Thank you for finding the treasure. You are heroes. I feel proud. I helped solve a mystery. Mr. Smith says, you are very brave and clever. If you ever want to be a detective, let me know. I smile and say, maybe one day. The next day, I go back to work at the cafe. Life is normal again. But I will never forget my adventure in Green Valley. Chapter 11. A New Beginning. After the adventure with Mr. Smith, life in Green Valley returned to normal. I continued working at the Sunny Days Cafe, serving coffee and cakes to the townspeople. But something inside me had changed. I felt more confident and curious about the world around me. The mystery of the stolen treasure had opened my eyes to new possibilities. One day, as I was cleaning the tables at the cafe, Mrs. Brown came over to me. She had a big smile on her face. Anna, she said, I heard about what you did. You found the stolen treasure. That's amazing. I smiled and said, thank you, Mrs. Brown. It was an exciting adventure. Mrs. Brown nodded and said, you know, Anna, you have a talent for solving problems. Have you ever thought about going back to school? You could learn so many new things. I thought about her words. I had always loved learning, but I had never considered going back to school. Maybe it was time to try something new. The next day, I visited the local community center. They offered free English classes for adults. I signed up for the beginner class. The teacher, Ms. Lee, was very kind. She said, welcome, Anna. Learning English will open many doors for you. The first class was challenging, but I enjoyed it. We learned simple words and phrases, like hello, how are you, and my name is Anna. I practiced every day, writing in my notebook and speaking with my classmates. Over time, my English improved. I could have conversations with customers at the cafe who spoke English. They were surprised and happy to hear me speak their language. One customer said, Anna, your English is very good. Keep practicing. I felt proud of my progress. I also started reading books in English. At first, it was difficult, but I used a dictionary to look up new words. My favorite book was a mystery story, just like my adventure with Mr. Smith. One evening, as I was walking home from class, I saw Mr. Smith near the park. He waved at me and said, Anna, how are you? I smiled and said, I'm good, thank you. I'm learning English now. Mr. Smith looked impressed. That's wonderful. Learning a new language is like solving a mystery. You have to be patient and keep trying. I nodded and said, yes, it's challenging, but I enjoy it. Mr. Smith smiled and said, you're a brave and clever person, Anna. I know you'll succeed. His words made me feel happy and motivated. I realized that life is full of adventures, big and small. Every day is a chance to learn something new and grow as a person. A few months later, I received a certificate for completing the English course. I showed it to my mother, and she hugged me tightly. I'm so proud of you, Anna, she said. You've worked so hard. I felt tears in my eyes. Thank you, Mom. This is just the beginning. I want to keep learning and exploring. From that day on, I set new goals for myself. I wanted to travel to new places, meet new people, and learn about different cultures. I knew that with hard work and determination, I could achieve anything. Green Valley was still my home, but the world felt bigger and more exciting. I was ready for whatever adventures lay ahead. Vocabulary and phrases to learn. Peaceful, calm, and quiet. Curious, wanting to know more. Nervous, feeling worried or scared. Detective, a person who solves mysteries. Clue, a piece of information that helps solve a problem. Treasure, valuable things like gold or jewels. Proud, feeling happy about something you did well.